Welcome to the ninth lecture of Polymer Science and Technology. Today we'll see the molecular weight and degree of the polymerization. As I have explained you that the repeating unit of the polymer chain is written outside the bracket, and for example here in case of polyethylene the repeating unit is 500. As I already told you that this number of repeating unit is also called as the degree of the polymerization, and if you want to calculate the molecular weight of the polymer chain, we have to multiply the number of repeating unit or degree of the polymerization with the molecular weight of the repeating unit. For example, the molecular weight of the repeating unit is 28. Here 2 carbon and 4 hydrogen, so 12, 12, 24 plus 4 is 28 the molecular weight of the repeating unit, and when it will be multiplied with the 500, the molecular weight of the polymer chain will be 1400. So we can write as the molecular weight of the polymer is equal to number of repeating units multiplied by the molecular weight of the repeating unit. So this is the formula to calculate the molecular weight of each individual polymer chain. The number of repeating unit in a polymer chain can also be expressed as degree of polymerization, dP, as I just told you. So the same formula M is equal to, instead of number of repeating unit, we can write it as a dP, where dP stands for degree of polymerization multiplied with the molecular weight of the repeating unit, small m. So like molecular weight, the degree of the polymerization can also be expressed in terms of average for complete polymer. This dP is for one particular chain, but if we consider the degree of the polymerization for the entire polymer, then we have to express is degree of polymerization in terms of average. So the number average degree of polymerization, it's very much similar to the number average molecular weight. So here it is number average degree of polymerization, and it is represented as dP bar subscript n, and this is equal to sigma ni dpi over sigma ni, where sigma ni is the number of all the polymer chains and dpi is the degree of polymerization of ith chain. Correct? Similarly, we can calculate the weight average degree polymerization just like weight average molecular weight. So it will be dP bar subscript small w is equal to sigma ni dpi square over sigma ni dpi. So if you just look at the formula, in case of weight average molecular weight, here it was sigma ni mi square over sigma ni mi. So here your mi is replaced with dpi. Okay, and each of these average degree of polymerization can be related to the corresponding molecular weight, as number average molecular weight is equal to number average degree of polymerization multiplied by the molecular weight of the repeating unit. Similarly, weight average molecular weight of the polymer is equal to weight average degree of polymerization multiplied by the molecular weight of the repeating unit. So this is the formula how we can relate number average or weight average molecular weight with their respective degree of polymerization. Now comes the topics polydispersity and molecular weight distribution in case of polymers. As we have already mentioned that the dispersity or polydispersity means the variation in the molecular weight of the molecules. Here first we will see the example of monodisperse system. Monodisperse system means all the molecules of the system will have same molecular weight. as in case of low molecular weight substance like water, alcohol, etc. So here you can see the molecular weight of each molecule is exactly same. For example, the molecular weight of the water is exactly 18 in case of each and every molecule of the water. Second is the case of polydispersed system, where the molecular weight of each molecule or each chain is not same. Here you can say some chains are longer, some chains are smaller. So this kind of systems are known as polydispersed system, and the example of polydispersed systems are the polymers. Okay. Now in the polymer, the fractionated various fraction and containing several chain same molecular weight, these chain can be plotted as Mi versus Ni, and this curve is known as the molecular weight distribution, or MWD, as shown in the figure. So if we plot the molecular weight of the polymer chains on the x-axis and their number on the y-axis, that's mean Ni on the y-axis and Mi on the x-axis. So what will happen, you can see the first fraction here, the molecular weight is the lowest and the number of the chains are also is lowest. Then we'll increase the molecular weight for the second fraction, so molecular weight is slightly increased, and similarly number of chains for the second fractions are also increased. Likewise, this curve will keep on building and it will reach at the peak maximum, where the molecular weight, this is the molecular weight at the maxima, and the number of chains are maximum at maxima point. But if we further increase the molecular weight on the x-axis, what we will see that the number of chains for higher molecular weight polymer chains are getting smaller. So this will curve start falling, and as we keep on increasing further the molecular weight, the number of chains will start decreasing. So this is a kind of dome shape of curve where maximum chains are at the peak of this curve, and if we plot the number average molecular weight, we'll find the number average molecular weight of the polymer is just at the maxima of this curve, followed by MV bar, viscosity average molecular weight. Next, after that, the weight average molecular weight, and here it is the random average molecular weight. So this is known as the molecular weight distribution. This curve tells us that the number of smallest chain is also very less, and number of highest molecular weight chains are also very less in the, but the average number of chains are having intermediate or moderate molecular weight. You can see the maximum number of chains is here and they are having moderate molecular weight of the polymer. Now, depending upon the polymerization system, the molecular weight distribution curve can vary in shape. For example, you can see the sample 1. This is the example of narrow molecular weight distribution, where we are getting a sharp peak of this curve. It tells that there is less variation in the molecular weight of the individual polymer chains, whereas sample 2 shows the broad molecular weight distribution, and it indicates that there is a huge difference in the molecular weight of the polymer chains. So you can say that the smallest chain is having very less molecular weight, whereas the highest molecular weight chain, this is the highest molecular weight chain here. So the difference between smallest and highest molecular weight polymer chain is very broad. That's why this is known as the broad molecular weight distribution. Whereas in case of narrow molecular weight distribution, the variation in the smallest and the largest molecular weight is not as high as compared to broad molecular weight distribution curve. So both the sample 1 and sample 2 have same number average molecular weight. You can see their peak are lying on the same line of Mn bar, so they are having the same number average molecular weight but exhibit different set of property due to different in molecular weight distribution. Sample 1 has narrow molecular weight distribution, whereas sample 2 has broad molecular weight distribution. Therefore, it can be concluded that only average molecular weight of polymer is not sufficient to express the properties of the polymer. Rather, information about the distribution of the molecular weight is also important. The molecular weight distribution can be expressed as polydispersity index, PDI, and PDI stands for weight average molecular weight over number average molecular weight. So this is the formula. PDI is equal to weight average molecular weight over number average molecular weight. It gives the idea about the lowest and highest molecular weight of the polymer chain present in the polymer. For all synthetic polymer, the PDI is higher than 1. As the molecular weight distribution becomes broader, the value of the PDI increases. That's mean if the value of the PDI is more than 1, that's mean there is a difference in the molecular weight distribution of the polymer. And if the PDI value is 5, for example, so the sample is more broader in terms of distribution as compared to polymer sample having PDI 2. PDI 1 means monodisperse system. In case of PDI 1, the number average molecular weight of the polymer will be exactly same as the weight average molecular weight. So it can happen only when all the molecules or all the chains of the polymer, they are of the same molecular weight, and this will be the condition of monodisperse system. We have seen in most of the synthetic polymers the systems are not monodisperse, they are polydisperse. That's why the PDI value will always be more than 1 in case of synthetic polymers. Now we can see the effect of molecular weight on the mechanical property and viscosity. Here on the x-axis is the molecular weight or degree of the polymerization versus mechanical properties on the y-axis. Mechanical properties means the tensile strength, impact strength, flexural strength. These are the mechanical properties. So when we'll increase the molecular weight of the polymer, we see that the mechanical properties are also increasing. But after a certain molecular weight, this further increase in the mechanical properties is stopped and this curve gets flattened. That's mean if we will further increase the molecular weight of the polymer, we will not get any benefit in terms of the mechanical properties. Whereas when we will increase the molecular weight beyond a certain range, the melt viscosity, here in the second curve, melt viscosity is on the y-axis and molecular weight is on the x-axis. So you can see the melt viscosity is exponentially increasing with respect to the molecular weight. So if we'll go beyond this dotted line range on the right hand side, which is plotted here also, then what will happen, we will not achieve much much increase in the mechanical strength, but what will happen, we'll get the polymer which is much more viscous and difficult to handle. So there is a commercial polymer range denoted by these two dotted line, and this is known as the useful polymer range. In if we'll polymerize our polymer system within this range, two extreme ranges, lower bound and upper bound, then we will get the polymer which is of commercially useful. And if we go beyond this range, then what will happen, there will be no improvement in the mechanical property, but we will get a polymer which is having very high melt viscosity and which is difficult to handle by the processing equipment. So we'll try to always polymerize our polymer system within this useful range. Okay, so this is the end of the 9th lecture. I hope you must have understand and enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.